Now we have reached our Q&A component of our webinar. First, we have Mark Stockwell from the Australian Taxation Office, who will be responding to 4 questions today. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Danielle. First question I had was, no surprises, about security, and Ray touched on that a few times about how can we be sure that e-invoicing is not manipulated. So I answered on 3 levels, and I think if Danielle, just for a sec, could you pull up the slide on the 4-corner model? Yeah. Perfect, well done. I'll talk about it from that. There's 3 levels I'd look at it. Firstly is about the access points. I spoke to them about earlier. Down there, corners 2 and 3. So they go through a rigorous, what we call accreditation process to ensure they're a fit-for-purpose organisation. They've got the right technical capability, the right level of security requirements in place for us to accredit them. And LUCA Plus, I'm very happy to say, has recently been accredited. So well done to Ray and the team. And what we go through in that due diligence is equal to what we already do with all those accounting packages in Australia and some of our large ERPs. We put them through a fairly rigorous questionnaire and assessment process to ensure that we've got a very high level of security. It's something we're pretty proud of in the Australian economy, that not a lot of countries actually have got the same level, but we think in this current environment, as we all go digital, it's a necessary part of our foundation. So that's the first one, is accrediting the access point. The second level is about the specification that the invoice comes through goes through the system. It actually specifies the level. So it talks about being encrypted both at rest and also in transit. So it's fully encrypted. The corner 2 and 3 can't manipulate, can't touch the what we call the payload or the message that's flowing through the system. So no one can actually access it because of the encryption layer. So it's got a high degree of security wrapped around it. And lastly, though, we always, in part of our communications, say, beware. Ray called out a case study earlier, but we've removed the email concern we have in the system. But nevertheless, we're in a digital environment. We hear every day through the news how different digital attacks are happening on our environment. And that's just going to be part of doing business in the future in the digital environment. We just need to be aware of people who are trying to trick us in different ways. I hope that answers that question. Second question, no doubt, is about cost. No surprise there. It's always probably the first or second question you get about what does something that's got all these great benefits, it's going to cost me something. Well, what I'm really pleased to say is that was one of our, when we first kicked off this project, is about, well, what are we going to do with the cost barrier? Because that's always something that particularly small business call out to us. The very good news for us is that one of those first big accounting software packages Ray called out on the screen earlier is actually providing this service as a free service. It's part of the normal subscription you'd have. That puts enormous pressure, obviously, on the market to actually meet a no-cost or very, very low-cost type of model. So that's very early days, but a good start for the market to actually come at a very low cost. But also you need to call out that you're also getting significant benefits. I think Ray's slide showed the $30 odd on average to do a paper or PDF type invoice. We're talking less than $10 for a digital. There is a great benefit there. And if you're looking at the trade-off, obviously it weighs heavily on your side in terms of a return on investment perspective. But yeah, I think there will be a low-cost implementation for particularly small business. Obviously, there'll be costs probably for the large, medium-term business if they have to change any of their bespoke systems that they might run. But again, that's part of also the role of access points. Not only do they route and move the data through the system, they've also got capability that actually helps translate and provide services to those larger businesses to have a very cost-efficient implementation. Next one was about education. So where to from here? It's early days for e-invoicing, and you may only be hearing about the first time, and that is no surprise because we purposely haven't kicked off our education program. And one of the main reasons behind that is we had been waiting for some of the accounting packages to be ready and for a number of the access points to be accredited and ready to onboard their clients. So without that foundation network in place and the software in place, e-invoicing doesn't exist because it's all based upon software, of course. So now we're hearing the accounting packages are coming into the market and be ready for their clients to onboard. And like I said before, we'd expect over 1 million businesses to be enabled before Christmas. So as all the software packages come into the market over the coming few months, we would see that. So with that, though, we'll complement the ramping up of our education and communication. It's important for us, though, that the message is not just coming from the ATO. So what we're looking at is we're leveraging through your professional, tax professional associations that you may be a member of, or through industry associations you may be a member of. We'll also be using those channels to push out the messages about e-invoicing and how it operates. No doubt your accounting packages like and accounting service providers like LUCA Plus will also be running like webinars and helping you and your clients understand more about invoicing and how the benefits for that are for them. The other thing, obviously, we've already got information already up on ato.gov for small business to actually look at. So I'd urge you to have a quick look at the basic information that's already there. But as we do further more and more education, you'll see that come as well. The other point and the last point of our strategy there is also about reaching out to small business. All research kind of points to the same thing year on year on, is one of the most important things is for the advisor of the small business, be it a bookkeeper, BAS agent, tax agent, financial planner. Those advisors to business are the people they listen to, and that's why it's important that we're getting the message, starting to get the message out to the industry or the profession that this is coming, and you need to kind of think about it for your clients and how it would benefit them. Last question, why is there a need for accredited access points? So I might have touched on this, but really I think in that corner 4 model which I spoke about before, if you don't have the 4-corner model and the access points that underpin that, realistically what we'd have there is a whole host of EDI type solutions where you've got one, if you collapse corner 2 and 3 together, and this does exist in the Australian economy today, you have a whole host of these instances where someone wants to send the transaction to the other person. There's a hub or a host in the middle of those who facilitates that. But that's only good if my business partner is on that same hub. If my business partners are on multiple different hubs, it means I have to have multiple different ways of interacting with all my suppliers. So that's where the cost and complexity comes into it. And that's where if you think about large business and EDI, the reason they do that is because it's more efficient. They know that they only have to have one hub and all their suppliers actually interact through that hub. So it's more efficient for big business. You know, the small business end of town, though, we don't have the resources or money to actually say to all our suppliers, hey, I'll give you a hub just to send us the invoice through. So that's why it's important that e-invoicing provisions this low cost or nil cost sort of solution that they can interact with all their clients without having all those bespoke and unique type of ways of dealing with multiple other clients. Before I go, because that was my 4th question, I thank you for those questions that come through as well. If I don't get a chance, then I'd really, if we have to go early, is I'd really like to thank LUCA Plus for today and inviting us to come along and speak to you. Like I said, it's early stages of education and awareness for the profession and small business, and you'll hear more about that in coming weeks and months. But really, I'm proud to be sitting here with Ray and the team, and well done on getting your accreditation recently. Thank you.
Thank you.